Hello everyone, this is Dr. Pavel Krastev. As always, I'm still in New Hyde Park. Welcome everyone. So we extracted today tooth number 5, and as you can see we had two roots. We had a buccal and a lingual root. I initiated the pilot hole with one of our marking tips, which is this guy here. I'll show it. The very slim one. And then I am going to now go ahead with our VGO system. And we're going to try to do an immediate placement here if we can get good stability. Good primary stability, as you guys all know, is key. And if we cannot, then we'll just graft it and come back. So I'm down to about 10 millimeters now. I'm going to rotate to about 11.5. And the instruments are engaging beautifully. Now we're approaching 11.5. I'm going to go a little bit more. Okay, let's take it out. Again, I'm doing only pure rotation and the removal. And now I'm going to go to the next tip. So this essentially, folks, so we started out with tip 0. In the anterior kit, tip 0 is the first one. And so we did tip 1, and now I'm working with tip number 2. Let's make sure. So this is tip 2, and as you guys can see, it's marked, the dot is above the 2. So this is a delta 1 instrument. This will only dilate the deep portion. So, and I'm essentially working right at the furcation bone between the buccal and palatal roots. Okay, and we have a lovely lady here who's our friend, and a lovely patient and a very dear friend, so we have to do a good job here as always. So we passed 8, which is the end of the threads. Now we're approaching the 10 millimeter mark. I'm going to go slow. Maybe you can get a shot from the buccal, Karina. We're approaching 10. Bernadette, are you doing well? Okay. And as you guys can see, there's no water going in the patient's mouth. There's no drilling. We verified the trajectory with a, I actually had one of the instruments in place. The difficulty in this kind of case is if you have a single rooted premolar, it's pretty simple to do, especially if you have healthy bone above to obliterate. But in this case, I will show you, ladies and gentlemen, the pre-op x-ray. We have a buccal and a lingual root that's really right under the sinus floor. And that makes our job a little bit more difficult because I'm essentially working with a very thin amount of bone. But so far we're doing well. The bone seems pretty dense at this point, especially right now. It's starting to give me a lot of resistance with the rotation. So we're down to about 11.5 now, which is exactly where I'd like to be. Pure rotation on the removal, guys. And now I'm going to go and use the 4th tip of the set, which is labeled as number 3. Because once again, 0, 1, 2, 3. So tip number 3 is a delta 1 instrument because it's marked, it's a delta 2 instrument because the dot is below the 3. And what that means is this will work, this will not do anything at the apex. It will only dilate the bone above that. I'm not pushing, I'm only rotating. Because if you push, you will end up where we don't want to end up, and you guys all know. So I'm being very cautious here, pure rotation, no apical force whatsoever. We're down to about 9 millimeters. I'm going to go a little bit more, and I will probably undersize it slightly. So I went to 10, exactly 10, but I'd like to place an 11.5 millimeter implant. So let's try the implant, and then we'll see if I need to open a little bit more. Don't go anywhere, anyone. So I'm just opening the implant fixture because my lovely assistant, as usual, is filming. So there is the implant fixture. It's a 3.7 by 11.5. Can you get a good shot of the osteotomy ones before I attempt to place it? Okay. So, as you guys can see, I did most of the work exactly to the in the middle between both roots. And now let's see what kind of engagement we can get here. So it engages very tight, a little too tight, but let's see. That may be a good thing. In worst case scenario in this kind of cases, if you cannot stabilize the implant well, we can always remove the implant, count our losses, and graft the case. Maybe a little from the buckle if possible. We have excellent stability. Might loosen it up a little. It's going a little too tight. Now I'm dealing with a relatively narrow implant, so this is a 3.7. So I might back it out and open a little bit more because, of course, we don't want to fracture the fixture. Come on, puppy. Let me have an idea. So the positioning seems perfect. If you want to get a shot once from the occlusal aspect so we can show our audience what we look like. And I will suction for you guys, ladies and gentlemen out in the audience, all my dear friends, so we can see what we have, okay? So this is what we have so far. Let's test and make sure I have the right driver. Yes, I do. This is 11.5. It's wobbling a little bit. 11.5. Maybe we'll go in with a 10. Let's back this out. I might put a shorter one in because it's starting to spin in place. Let's see if we can open a slight bit more. Go in a little bit deeper, and then what I'm thinking to do is place a little bit shorter implant, maybe a 10. Now I generally like to place 3/7 diameter implants in the premolar areas. Number one, in this case we have not that much mesiodistal space. Deeper. So let's open a 10 also. Or should we even consider going real fat? Can we consider going fat? We can. We have the width. You know what? Let's take one picture, folks, and see exactly how deep the osteotomy is before I commit myself to putting the 10. Maybe I'll go to a 4/7. So we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes.